Just take a look at that. I particularly like the sun just kind of shooting off of this beautiful piece of ocean trout. It's an ocean trout, I love it. It's about not quite half a side. First, I'm gonna brine it in a wet brine, then I'm gonna cure it in salt and sugar, and then I'm gonna smoke it. Easy peasy, the very first thing, I have make the wet brine, so salt goes into my pan. Then I've got some brown sugar that will go in. Then I like to put in a few peppercorns. Let's say, I don't know, that many. It's probably about 10 or 15 in there. A couple of dried bay leaves. And then just a nice little piece of lemon rind. I have some boiling water, or it's just boiled, and you tip that in. You want the sugar and salt to melt. With the heat, it's quite nice to release the flavours from the bay leaf, the peppercorn and the lemon rind. So you give it a good stir, and when you can see that it's all melted, you can add the other secret ingredients. So far we've got half a litre of hot water, put in a litre of cold water, then I'm going to flavour it up. I'm going to use some Cooper's Stout. You could use porter or something else, but this is... And then lastly, it's a bit of an indulgence, this one, I've got to tell you. This is a Belgian triple. So that's my brine. Really simple. Get it down to 5 degrees and then put your fish in, okay? I'm gonna go put this in the freezer. Seriously, I'm in love with this piece of fish. And if you're in love with your fish, you want to treat it with respect. So the brine is now under 5 degrees. So all I do is just put that piece of fish in, put it back in the fridge for 2 hours. So the fish has been in the beautiful brine for about 2.5 hours, which is great. So the next thing we do is we're going to do the cure. So we're going to do the salt. Quite simply, I'm going to use about half a cup of salt or so. I'm going to put that on our tray. Half a cup of sugar, in this case caster sugar. We want it well combined. And then our lemon, and we just want the zest. So I guess the process is the brine draws some moisture out of the fish because of the sugar, the salt in the brine, but it also puts a whole lot of flavour in. So you're kind of taking some stuff out, and then all the moisture goes back in with the peppercorns and the bay leaves and the brine and the beer and whatnot. Now what we're going to do is put it into the salt and sugar. So I'm just taking the zest of an orange. And this is going to draw moisture out of the fish and kind of dry it a little bit, gives it a bit more texture. But it's not putting as much flavour in as the brine does. Simple. Take our fish out, and we're just going to give it a bit of a dry. And you know what? Have a look at it. The colour's changed a little bit. It's firmed up a little bit. Oh, it smells of those beautiful beers and all those other flavours. So, halfway there, going well. Make sure, you get it on the ends. Just make sure you get a bit of salt, rub it on the end. It's sitting on a bed of salt. It's going to pull moisture out and put flavour in. So what we do now is I'm going to wrap that in plastic, or cover the pan in plastic. Then I'm going to put this back in the fridge for 2 hours. Wash, dry, put to bed in the fridge, smoke. What we're going to do now is set up the smokers. Come and have a look at this. So what I've done is I've set up the Weber with my briquettes. So let's get our coals on there. And we build up, a few coals at the back, and this is going to create some heat. Our fish, put it away from the heat, thickest part to the heat, not the thinnest, because that'll dry out too much. That's all good. And that'll just heat up. It'll start to burn, and as it slowly burns, it'll keep burning the wood. We'll get a nice smoke consistency. You also put the vents away from the fire. Look, see, we've got smoke starting now, which is great. Lid on, 2 hours, It'll be beautiful. All right. Looking absolutely beautiful. 72, nice and firm, lovely and smoky. This is one of my all-time favorite things. And look how it's just gonna flake. What I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna make a breakfast dish, and it's called beer scrambled eggs with smoked trout and goat's cheese. And I'm also gonna do some smoked trout tacos later on in the show. But keep an eye out, it's gonna be delicious. Seriously, I'm in love with this piece of fish. And if you're in love with your fish, you want to treat it with respect. So